But
Shout out Home Depot and Menards.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can. If you use electives, the Electives Podcast discount code
Right.
at Home Depot, you'll get an extra 10% off.
And we're live, cuzzo.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Electives Podcast. This is
21.
episode 21.
21.
Do your thing, 21. Do your
Can you
thing.
do something for me.
Yeah, but this is a special episode. This is going to be our Father's Day episode. So by the time it drops, Father's Day should be right around the corner.
Yep.
And we wanted to do this episode specifically because obviously fathers are important. Men are important. June is also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So we just wanted to shine light on all the fathers out there, discuss a few different topics that we think are important, and just show some love, man, to all the good dads out there. We feel like, I'm not saying that society doesn't give men enough credit or
Right.
give fathers enough credit, but that's something we want to do here on the Electives Podcast. And
Yep.
with that being said, man, let's get into it.
Let's get right into it, man. So Father's Day, man.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you, or what has it meant to you? Has it changed?
It's now that I'm getting older and now that I'm thinking about having children of my own, I have a goddaughter now. Father's Day does have a little bit more of a different significance. I mean, I always obviously looked out for my dad on Father's Day.
Right.
Appreciated him. Told him that I loved him and all of that, but I think it does change a little bit once you start getting in that space and start thinking about, having a family.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with that, man. I think spending time together is probably the biggest thing.
Yep.
It really ain't about the gifts, stuff like that. Just being there.
Nah, because let's be honest. When you look at all the commercials when it comes to Father's Day, what are
Yeah.
they getting, dads?
What, trucks?
Trucks,
Something-
tools.
Something for the grill.
Exactly. Something for you to do.
Right.
Something to put you back to work for the family.
Yup.
But
Shout
yeah.
out Home Depot and Menards.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can. If you use electives, the Electives Podcast discount code
Right.
at Home Depot, you'll get an extra 10% off.
Right.
No,
Oh,
but
maybe one day.
all jokes. Please
Yeah.
do. I hope nobody goes and tries that
Yeah.
and then tries to sue us for it. But
Right.
it's all jokes.
Oh,
But
man.
no, man, you brought up a good point, man. It's not about gifts. It's about spending time with your pops.
Yeah.
Spending time with your grandfather. I've been very, very, very fortunate. I've mentioned it countless times on the podcast that I still have on my dad's side. I still have my grandfather, who's I believe he's 88. I
Damn.
want to say, yeah, because
Damn.
he's 2 years younger than my grandmother, so
Yeah.
he's 88, and so thankful to have his wisdom, to have his presence still in my life. He's quiet as kept. He's one of the pillars of the family,
Yeah.
and just to still have my dad in my life. My dad just turned 60 this year, which is a milestone year. And I think also too, as I grow older and as I mature as a man, I pick up on some of their wisdom and life experiences that they've had, and I kind of reflect back on that.
Right. What type of things you guys do for Father's Day? Or have
Really,
you
we just get together.
Yeah, like cookout?
It's just cookout.
Yeah.
Yeah, just simple. Like my family, especially on my dad's side, they're very simple people.
Yeah.
They don't need a lot. You
Yeah.
know, they're my grandfather's from Mississippi. He's come from hard work his entire life. So for my grandfather, and this is one of the things that he's taught me, is just the beauty in being present.
Yeah.
My grandfather can literally sit, and he did this for Memorial Day weekend. All of the family is enjoying the cookout.
Yeah.
And we're sitting outside in the driveway area because it was it was a nice day out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he's just sitting towards that. He's engaged. He's
Right.
listening.
Yeah.
But he's a little off to the side and a little back, a little deeper in the garage. And he's got an old cassette player, probably from the 80s.
Damn.
And he's playing old cassettes that he's had since, I don't know how. They're in a suitcase forever.
Yeah.
But he's back there, and he's literally just watching everybody
Yeah.
enjoy themselves and he's listening to some blues, and he's happy, like really happy.
Yeah.
You could buy that man a Lamborghini, pull it up in the driveway, and he'd look at you like, "Why? What are you wasting your money for?
What am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do with this?"
Yeah.
But just him seeing his family spend time with one another, I
Yeah.
think is everything
Yeah.
for my grandfather. You know.
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. Yeah, because we do the same thing. It's cookout. You know, so I still have my grandpa on my mom's side, and then you know, my not from my dad's side though. We don't have him anymore. But it's just like a cookout. You know, cookout, have a good time, laugh. You know, joke. You know, stuff like that. So I mean, it's like you said, it's simple. I'll get my dad some, you know, whether it's a bottle, because you know,
Yeah.
you know, something for
Get
him
a
to
sip
sip
on.
on. Yeah, if it's something like that. But other than that, man, I mean, that like you said, there ain't much that really goes into it. You know, like
Nah. Yeah.
it's just chilling.
Yep.
You know, just chilling, having fun.
Yeah. What's have you, you know, because I don't have kids yet, right?
Right.
But
Coming
how
soon.
much? Yeah, coming to a household near you.
Right.
But do you remember when you first had, you know, your oldest, going to your dad and picking his brain on like what you should do or how to go about being a good father?
Oh, like when I did?
Yeah, when you had kids.
Yeah. So I was 21.
Right.
What?
21.
Episode 21. Yeah, so I was 21 when she was born, and obviously there was a lot to learn
Right.
at 21. And then with the ups and downs of, you know, relationships too, you know, so I had to ask my dad, like, man, I don't, you know, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I go about that? You know, and, you know, that's when it really started. When I first had my first one, I was just asking him stuff like I always have.
Right.
Probably more so now that I'm older, because when I
Yeah.
was younger, I didn't listen to him. But,
Right.
but
That's
but
all
not-
of us.
yeah, that's all of us. So, but yeah, man, when I had my oldest, man, I did go to him for advice. Now he doesn't have, you know, obviously there's all boys in our family, so it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to kind of learn together, because you know now he's got a granddaughter,
Yeah.
you know, and I've seen him change through the years because he's got two of them now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, it's definitely a learning experience. And then there's times where I'll just, you know, to ask him to talk to her instead of me. You know, like, hey man, can you talk to Aaliyah for me or something?
Yeah.
And it works.
It gets
You know,
through?
it gets through,
Yeah.
because I think it's a more powerful message from your grandparents.
True. Well, it's like what we talked about in episode 1,
Yeah.
like the wisdom from the older generations, right? There's a lot of young people that
Right.
you know are yearning or trying to seek knowledge or
Yeah.
have a better understanding of life. And
Right.
man, who better than their grandparents? You
Right.
know? And also sometimes too, man, we were kids. We're hard headed.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to hear it from a different voice.
Right. Different
You
voice.
know, but
Yeah.
someone that still loves you and cares about you and
Yep.
has your best interests at heart. You know?
Yeah. So that definitely works, because I'll even be like, I'm gonna tell your grandpa about this, and she's like, no, don't tell my grandpa.
Yep.
Yeah, because
yeah.
grandpa, no, grandpa ain't gonna play no games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your grandfather or your dad is softer on the grandkids than he was on you guys?
Oh yeah, but I think it's so much different, because the like you said, like when they see their grandparents, it's kind of like how I am. Like I don't ever want to get my grandma or grandpa mad.
Right.
Like if they
It's a
tell me-
respect thing.
Yeah, the respect is like different between our parents for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think it's definitely different. Challenges and rewards of fatherhood. Now, I know you don't have kids,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you can touch on that a little bit from maybe your own experience of seeing your pops.
Yeah. My experience with my dad when it comes to the challenges that he faced,
And it can be like real over, like,
you know, it's
like real at the surface.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, real at the surface, 'cause
Yeah,
it
because
can-
like, there's stuff that I've thought about that he's had to go through and experience. and yeah, it's a lot. But
Yeah.
but the easiest way to explain it, I guess, or the easiest example that I can give is that raising kids in general is a challenge,
Yeah.
right? So if you can get your children to a point where they're decent human beings in society,
Yep.
I think you've done a pretty good job as a parent, right?
Yeah.
I only bring this into account not because I'm not saying race is everything or anything like that, but I think being a black father, it's unfortunate that there's a stigma in this country that black fathers don't stick around or that black fathers aren't as involved with their children as other fathers are. But that's honestly, it's just not true.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that narrative that is pushed out there sometimes.
Yep.
Because there's bad fathers everywhere. You know?
all over the place.
I work in a barbershop, and unfortunately, I've seen firsthand what bad fathers look like.
Yeah.
You know, just we're biracial.
Yep.
You know, so for my dad, he was the first one in his family to have biracial children.
Yeah.
You know, so he had to learn and adapt to a different culture. He had to learn and adapt to a different language.
Yep.
You know, and all while trying to keep a roof over our heads, pay the bills, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and the times were different back then.
And the times were
it's
different.
normal now.
Yeah.
But back when your parents were younger,
No,
that
it was different. Yeah.
It didn't even fly sometimes.
No.
You
Yeah.
know?
No. But yeah, and then, I'm sure he went through his. My dad, I love him. I love him because he's done so much for my brother and I. You know, and there's really, honestly, there's no way I can. I honestly feel like there's no way I can ever repay him.
I don't think we can.
You know, and according to him, like, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, his philosophy when it comes to being a father is like, this is what you're supposed to do as a father.
Yeah.
You know, like there were times where my brother and I would say to my dad, like, hey man, you did a really good job. We've never been to jail. Right. And he would always, and now that I'm older, man, I understand it, but he would say, like, that's not an accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to go to jail, you dummy. You know what I mean? And me and my brother would be like, you kind of got a point. And now that I'm older, I'm like, that makes 100% perfect sense.
Right.
Because he raised us in such a way where it's like, we know right from wrong.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in that situation.
Right.
You do put yourself in that situation. You're a dummy.
Right. Yeah,
but challenges, what about challenges for you as a father?
For me, it's just every day is like could bring a new challenge, and then when you have different ages, that's also a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And navigating through those, there's no guidebook.
Right.
So, and every kid is different. So, it's like Q said, Q and Rio.
Mm-hmm.
There is a system in place. I think you have to have your own system.
Right.
And then you kind of just tweak it
as you
for
go.
each kid.
Yeah.
So, the challenges of just trying to keep that open communication for as long as possible. I think that's the biggest one that not that I'm having that challenge, but it's a challenge in the sense that now that it's open, we have to keep it open.
Yep.
Because once it closes, it's kind of hard to open that door again.
Yeah.
So I think that's a challenge. Really getting them to understand that there's more than the world on the phone.
Yep.
There is a totally different world, and you have to think about those things.
Yeah.
So we just had that conversation yesterday, about goals. What do you want to do? The cost of those goals, not monetarily, but the cost of getting there.
Yeah.
And how there's days that things suck and you don't want to do anything, but there you have to.
Yep.
And that's part of the journey. It's part of the process. If you want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you don't have to do these things. That you don't have to. But then you won't have the other things.
Right.
So that's
the trade-off.
That's the trade-off. So I think that's a challenge too, because like we talk about is there's a lot of kids that those conversations are tough to have, because sometimes it's like, are you beating them up too soon?
Right.
Or can they mentally handle it?
Right.
But I mean, I don't know, but that's the thing. You
You
don't,
don't
know.
know. You don't know. And I mean, I think every parent, right? Especially, I mean, good parents, right?
Right.
You just want to try your best not to mess your kids up.
Right. Right.
I think that's the goal,
Right.
Ryan. You know, it's just I just want them to be decent human beings, and I hope one day they don't come back and say, because of you, my life is horrible.
Right.
You
right.
know?
Yeah. That's always the that's always the goal. Yeah. I mean, but on the flip side, like the rewards of it, man, is I mean, those definitely. I mean, those are endless, man. Every day could be one. You know, when they start playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that one alone is like just seeing them excel in there is amazing.
And I think that's what's gonna be. That's what I look forward to.
Yeah.
Is I've always felt, man, like I'm gonna be an amazing father.
Yeah.
I've always felt like that's one of the purposes that I have while I'm on this planet, is to just be an amazing dad and
I
be
agree
there
with
for
that.
my children, be present with them, you know, and see them get joy out of the little things in life. You know,
I agree with that.
that would be, if I can leave this, honestly, if I can leave this planet and my children can say that I was an amazing father,
Right. Mission accomplished.
mission accomplished,
Yeah.
man. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's the goal, man. That is definitely the goal.
Because all the other stuff, the monetary stuff, the cars, the clothes,
Right.
all that stuff,
Right.
nah. But
Nah.
if my kids can say that about me,
Yeah. And you done something right, man.
yep.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the rewards, man. When we won't know that one until we're old.
No,
you know,
it's true.
Until we're older. I
It's
think
true.
that's when you figure that one out.
Something that's kind of cool too that we'll do with my dad every now and then is I'll ask him about something from our childhood, and he'll bring up like the memories that he has of those
Yeah.
experiences, and to see him laugh, like really like a good laugh,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
good laugh, man,
Yeah.
is priceless, because it's like everything that he went through, even on those bad days, man, where you
Right.
just, you know, you were like, man, I don't know if I can, am I even a good dad? I'm sure there's been time, like,
Right.
has there been a moment where you've questioned yourself as a dad?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you sit there and you think and then but it's like you said, it's those intrusive thoughts that get
Yeah.
to you. So man, all you could do is every day get 1% better, like we talk about.
True.
That's
True.
all you can really do.
No, it's true. That is so true, brother. So true.
Diving into father-daughter relationships.
It's your expertise, sir.
Yeah. Is it? Is it?
It's your expertise.
What are your thoughts on that, man? I mean, you don't have
I-
kids, but
Yeah. So what
if you have a daughter first?
my goal is, if I have a daughter, I'm the first, and these are my own words. These are things that I've learned and I've picked up along the way.
Yeah.
But I am the first example
Okay.
of what she should expect out of a man,
Mm-hmm.
and and how she should be loved.
Right.
Those two things right there, man, aren't easy, right? Because I'm flawed.
Right.
I'm not perfect.
All of us are.
I made mistakes. Gonna continue to make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to try and show her, this is what you should look for when you become of the age where you actually are going out and trying to find, you know, a partner.
Right.
Then the other side of that is like, I don't want to be too hard on her,
Right.
right? I don't
Yeah.
want her to feel like she can't come to me, like she can't
Yeah.
talk to me about whatever it is. I want to
Yeah.
create a safe space for her,
Right.
you know, where she always feels like her dad is able to listen
Yep.
and love her, you
Yeah.
know, no matter what.
Yep.
And then there's and man, the more time I spend with my goddaughter,
Yeah.
and I've said this to my girlfriend, I've said this to family members, like, if I have a daughter, I'm cooked.
Oh yeah, you're cooked.
I'm cooked. I'm cooked because I see the way that I am with my goddaughter,
Yeah.
you know, and how much joy and
Yeah.
laughter she brings, and just
Yep.
pure happiness.
Yep.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, I would take out a whole block for this little girl.
Oh, dude.
So what is it gonna be? And
What?
this is my goddaughter. So what
Yeah.
is? What am I gonna? How's my
Yeah.
mind gonna be wired
Yep.
if I have my own daughter? You know?
Yeah. No, I feel you on that, man. Cause, with, now that I'm older, it's like when I had a daughter at 21, I feel like I understood it, but I was just kind of like, I didn't completely understand it till I got older. It was just kind of like I was acting on it, like just naturally, just like
Right.
whatever I had to do, like for
Right.
my baby girl,
Right.
that's what it was gonna be. And then as I got older, I was like, yeah, man, it'll change you for sure.
Yeah.
It'll change you for sure. But yeah, like you said, man, the difficulties on it, is just trying to understand them and being able to be soft enough, but assertive enough
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. And that's the tricky part, right?
Yeah.
That balance almost of knowing when to be this
Right.
or that.
Right.
And then of course, right, like you have work,
Yep.
right? You have your relationship with your wife.
Right.
And so I'm sure there's days, man, where you come home, maybe you've had a crazy day at work.
Right.
The moment you walk through that door, you're not
Yeah,
not
you
at
gotta
work.
turn it off.
You're dad.
Yeah.
And you have to suppress that and put that
Right.
on the back burner and deal with whatever, is happening inside
Yeah.
the home.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm sure like it's like, ironically you're wearing multiple hats.
Right. Yep. Multiple hats, man.
And you just got to flip them back and forth. And, and you talked about this too when we were on the podcast with Nick, and Nick was talking about his, his relationship with his stepson and
Yeah.
how, and I think that the short that I actually posted today
Oh yeah.
was,
That's right.
was about what you said, which was like, man, as a father, you have to learn how to humble yourself and admit when you're wrong.
Right.
That's something I wish more fathers picked up and really understood. It's like you have to show your children that you're human too.
Yep.
Because if you create this false reality
Yeah.
that you're perfect
Right.
and that you don't make mistakes or you never admit when you're wrong,
Yeah.
well, they're going to develop narcissistic tendencies
Yeah.
and a narcissistic personality.
Yeah.
And that's not good for anybody.
Right. Right.
Because now they think they're untouchable. No one can tell them anything. They're never
Yep.
wrong.
Yeah.
And whether it's male or female,
Yeah.
it just will lead to a toxic relationship.
True. I agree with that, man. How do you think it would be different if you had a son? Father-son relationships.
Well, I think it's equally difficult
Yeah.
and challenging in its own way, right?
Yeah.
Because now, going back to what I said earlier about the relationship with my daughter, like my son is looking at me on how to be a man,
Right.
right? And then he's also learning how to treat a woman
Right.
from me.
Right.
The way that I treat his mom,
Right.
is how he's going to grow up and interact with women out in the world.
Right.
And I think that's something to be conscious of, something
Yeah.
to be aware of.
Yeah.
And then also there's the fear of wanting to not be too hard on him,
Yep.
and I would always say this to you, but I felt like the reason why God has waited
Right.
to
Right.
give you a son
Right.
is because if you would have had a son first,
Yeah.
you would have been maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
but
Probably.
You probably would have
more than
been just
likely.
too rough on him, too tough on
Yeah.
him, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's easy for me to say now, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I won't do this. Oh, I'll never do that. But the
Right.
honest truth is I don't know. But I
Right.
hope that in that moment, if I find myself being too hard on my son, or if you pull me to the side and like, hey, Mal, you're being way too hard on your son, man,
Yeah.
that I have the wisdom and I can humble myself enough to be like,
Right.
man, you know what? You're right, man. Let me go apologize to my son
Yeah.
and let him know that I am wrong.
Yeah. That's
You
my
know?
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think, man, if I ever had a son, I always think of like the Spartan 300 movie. Like, hey, man, you gotta go out there and kill out there, man. Now you come back.
You got to teach him how to hunt.
and you come back.
No, yeah.
Nah, but-
Rite of passage. Yeah.
No, man, but yeah, I agree, man. I think it would be a fun time, doing a lot of that stuff, father-son stuff. Not that I don't have it with my daughter, but it's just a different
It's just a different vibe.
things,
Yeah.
different vibe. I'm playing
Yeah.
with Barbies right now, bro.
Right.
I'm in a Barbie car.
Right.
We're
Yep.
singing Barbie World
Yep.
out in the pool.
Yeah.
So so I think it would be different, man.
And then just to have like your mini me.
Yeah, like a little,
You know,
yeah.
a little you, basically. Yeah,
Walking
just-
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I think it would be a dope experience.
Yeah,
man.
it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a good time, man. Little, but if we do it, man, we gotta have it at the same time. So
Pressure's
that's
on.
pressure's on. Pressure's on if we're gonna do it.
Pressure's on, man. Pressure's on.
All right, we'll take a quick break.
Cool. Back from the break.
Yeah, we're back from the break.
Cool.
Back from the break.
All right. So we always hear about single moms,
We do.
right?
We do.
What about single dads?
Single dads, man. There are a lot of them out there.
There's more than
Yeah, there's
there's more than what people think.
Yeah, yeah. One of my boys is actually a single dad.
Yeah.
Yep, and he does a very great job. Like, honestly, like not just because he's my boy, he does like a phenomenal job, bro.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him because he's
Yeah.
got two little girls. So
Oh wow. Okay.
you know he's got a lot on his plate.
Yep.
And you know, there's times, you know, like I always tell him, like, hey man, if you ever want to drop them off here, they can spend the night. You know,
Mhm.
and they spent the night like twice already.
Nice.
And that way he can go. You know, if he's got
Do
a
his thing.
yeah, because I mean, it's got to be tough, man. I couldn't imagine, you know, like
course.
doing it out. You got to do it on your own.
Yep.
So, shout out to them single dads, but it's definitely a different.
No, yeah, man.
Different
Because like
job.
you know, and there's also the stigma too that like the dads always leave,
Right.
but there's a lot of moms that leave too. Now, I'm not saying one is worse than the
Right.
other because either way, as the child, the children are gonna. I don't want to say suffer in a negative way, but I
Right.
just mean anytime you miss out on one parent,
Yeah.
it's gonna affect you somehow. You know.
Well, yeah, because I think it's hard for a younger kid to understand
Yeah,
why.
you can't conceptualize.
Like, why are you guys not
Right.
sleeping in the same house?
Right.
Yeah.
Or does this parent not love me?
Right. Or
You
something
know,
like that. Yeah, it could.
Because as a
could be
kid,
like that.
kids think like that. You know.
Yeah, they can't figure it out.
No. So yeah, man. Shout out to all the single fathers out there, man, that are working hard, man, and still finding a way to balance their personal lives, their work lives,
Yeah.
their lives with their children. Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
What's one of the favorite moments that you've had with your dad?
Favorite moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the moments that I've had came from when he was showing me how to do something. You know, it was or even the talks in the car, like after a basketball game. You know what I'm saying? Those were definitely like things that I always stuck with me,
Mm-hmm.
especially like the basketball stuff, because
Mhm.
you know he would just like give me advice on what I had to do to get better, and I would remember those things. And then as I got older, same thing with school. You know, it wasn't all the time, but like when he did, you know, toss something out,
Mhm.
I could like really understand like, oh man, this is something I got to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then now that I got older, now I'm, you know, in my 30s, now it's like the best times are like if he comes and shows me how to put in a water heater or whatever, or
Yeah.
you know, those are some of like my favorite times, because like I get to just kind of be there, be his, you know, like he's doing most of the work,
Yeah.
but you know,
His
like
wingman.
I'm his wingman,
You know?
man, and we're
Yeah.
just chilling, you know,
Yeah, having a
kicking
couple
it.
beers.
Yeah, and then and then outside of that, like on the weekends, you know, granted I don't really go out much anymore.
Mhm.
I'd rather just be kicking it with my dad at his house having a
Mhm.
beer.
Mhm.
And those times are like,
Priceless moments.
dude,
man.
laughing, cracking
Priceless
jokes, you know,
Priceless moments.
beating up on my mom, you know,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
those moments by far, man, like outdo anything else, because you know they don't cost nothing,
They don't cost
know,
anything,
it's
but they
just-
mean everything.
mean everything.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, man?
No, man, kind of similar. When it comes to like fixing stuff, I wouldn't say those are some of my favorite moments, because, and it wasn't until I got older, but I was like, man, you know, my dad, he's a good man. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But like when it comes to working on stuff, and I
Yeah.
get this from him too.
Yeah.
He gets hyper focused on trying to figure out the problem that he kind of turns into an asshole because he's frustrated
Right.
that he can't figure out what's wrong with the hot water heater, for example.
And
right?
now it's your fault.
And now it's my fault, because I'm not holding the flashlight where he can see.
Right.
So I
Right.
remember being a kid. Same thing with like working on the car.
Yeah.
Man, he'd be going to change the catalytic converter
Yeah.
or something like that, and he had worked all day. He comes home, the sun's going down, right? So we only got so much light,
Right.
right? Yeah. By that time, me and my brother would be playing outside basketball, something like that,
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, come over here." I was like, "Oh shit, man."
Damn. Here we go.
All right, here we go. And he'd be like, "Hold the light right here," right?
Yeah.
So you do it.
Right.
You're a kid. You're not thinking anything of it. You're looking around. You're not really focusing, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden the light goes from here to over here, and he's like, "God damn it! Put the light where I can see it, not where you can see it."
Right. Right.
It's just like funny,
Oh, man.
but even though they weren't necessarily I laugh about it now. I mean, they weren't the worst memories, but they were funny memories.
Funny
funny
memories, yeah.
memories that I've had with my dad. But
Yeah.
on a personal level, if I can think of just like a favorite moment that I've had with my dad, it is doing some of the most simplest stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to grab something to eat.
Yep.
It's just letting him vent, letting him
Right.
talk,
Yep.
and picking the gems up where I can.
Right.
It's listening sometimes to his childhood
Yeah.
and being like, "Oh, well, that's why.
Right. Right.
That's why you're this way."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
having that kind of relationship, man,
Yeah.
where he no longer just sees me as his son. He
Yeah.
sees me as my own man, and he's willing
Yeah.
now to share some of his experiences with me
Right.
because he understands that I'm old enough and mature enough
Right.
to get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And I think, man, my dad's got such a good heart. He's just selfless.
Yeah.
I still to this day have never heard my dad complain.
That's good, man. Like
My dad's never
to
complained.
not complain about nothing. That's pretty good.
He's never complains, man.
Yeah.
Like whatever situation he finds himself in,
Yeah.
hey, he figures a way out.
Oh yeah. You gotta figure it out.
And yeah, man, that kind of mental fortitude.
Yeah.
I give him all the credit for having.
Yeah.
He's got the patience of a sage.
Yeah. He was always like my dad said. Your dad was always the smoothest cat around, man.
He still is.
He's smooth.
Still is. That dude dresses like I don't know, bro. He's a different cat for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
He's just a different cat, man.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
love him to death, man.
Yeah,
I
we're
love
gonna
him
have to
death.
do all four of us go out for a
let's make that
brewski
happen.
or something. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be a fun time, man.
That'd be a good
That's some
time,
good
man.
laughs. Yeah,
Oh,
we have
yeah.
to make that happen.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do
I'm
that.
trying to make it happen. Like maybe I know next weekend is gonna be super busy for me, but maybe the following weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
try
we
and
could
get
do
to
that.
happen, man.
Yeah, cause me and my dad are always down.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. My
Yeah.
dad's he's never gonna turn down.
Hey,
a
he
drink.
gonna he got turned
Nah,
down.
man. He's like, what is this? What
Where-
you giving me
right.
baby's milk, man?
Right.
Let's take another one.
We're in trouble if that starts.
I know, man. I know.
We're in trouble if that starts.
Yeah. But
Right.
what's one of what's one of your favorite moments that you've had with each one of your kids?
Each one, I would say the one that comes to mind for the oldest with Aaliyah is her winning the championship this past
Which I was
this
there
past
for.
season, dude. 'Cause
And well, go
no,
ahead. I don't
yeah,
wanna
go
cut you
ahead,
off.
go ahead.
Nah, that was one of the we've spent more time because we've been doing the podcast and
Right.
everything. But from afar, I've always watched how you and your daughter have interacted when it comes to the game of basketball.
Right,
And basketball has been something that's been able to bridge you two together.
right.
Watching you see her have that joy
Yeah,
and that excitement,
yeah,
man, you talk about like getting chills, bro.
yeah, bro. It was
Because it was like a full circle moment for you.
yeah.
It's
It
like
was
all the hard work we've put in,
yep,
all the training, all those hours in the
Yep.
gym, the good days, the bad days where,
Yep.
She's saying, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And maybe you push her a little bit,
right,
and then maybe she's upset and,
Right.
she's running up to her room. I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
All that.
all that, man.
But then to have that moment where she threw her hands up in the air.
yeah,
Like, I remember like it was yesterday. She threw her hands up in the air. It was just so
Yeah.
excited, so
Yep.
happy.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah,
pure joy.
yeah,
You
she-
you lit up.
Yeah, dude, because she ran as soon as the buzzer rang. She came. She ran and gave me a hug, and then I was like, "Man, this is dope.
This
This
what
is
it's
this is
about.
what it's about. Even if we never win another one, like we won one together, you know, and because we lost the year before, and then obviously seeing your kid cry is like,
Right.
like really hurt. Like them
Yeah.
little girls,
Oh, yeah.
like when they cry and the
Oh, yeah.
game's lost,
Oh yeah.
that's tough. So then to see her come back and win it
Mm-hmm.
with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great moment, man. That was one of the the big moments so far that we've had together. So that was pretty dope. With the little one, I feel like the moments are always like if like her looking for me at school, like if she has like a play
Uh-huh.
or something,
Yeah.
like when they walk in and she's like, where you at?
Yeah.
Because she always asks me if I'm gonna come.
Yeah.
So I think those moments are always special, for her now that she's little. So because she's growing. So each time I just want to be able to be there for each one of those
Right.
things, or even picking her up from school.
Right.
Like she acts like she hasn't seen me in like weeks.
Yep.
And
I honestly believe that's one of the beautiful things about having children is they
Yeah.
remind you that at the end of the day, they just
Yeah.
want your attention,
right.
which means that you have to be present,
Yep.
right? You can't
Yep.
be on your phone
Oh no.
when you go to pick her up and hold on, Belle, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on.
Hold on.
Let me take this call real quick.
Right.
No, it's like you said, she acts
Right.
like she hasn't seen you in weeks,
Yeah.
and it was just since this morning.
Right.
But she runs to you and she's so happy to see you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to see that you're there and to pick
Yep.
her up and that you're present means
Yep.
everything to her. And I do hope that the men out there that are listening to this, man, that are fathers or that are soon to be fathers or one day will become fathers, really, really, really put an emphasis on spending quality time with your kids.
Yeah.
Because you can't get that time back, especially when they're young,
Right.
especially when they're young.
Yep.
You don't want to, I don't think you would regret it, me personally.
No.
Spending every chance you can with your kids and being
Right.
around them and showing them that you love them and that you care about them and making memories.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because I look at some of the dads that I'm friends with, and their sons play sports, and man, they're gone every weekend.
Yeah. Travel.
Like going to the to the tournaments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Playing ball, and that's a huge sacrifice in itself. But I'm sure he wouldn't trade it for the world.
They wouldn't trade it. No.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you get to go watch them play, because it's like they're never gonna be this young again.
Yeah.
And
You got a small window,
small
right?
window, man.
To build a bond.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the memories just they'll constantly be new ones.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just always be whatever that time at that moment in time, whatever the memory is at that time, that's what it will be. But you'll be having them forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
because then you'll be able to experience it like as one day your kids will be an adult.
Yep.
You'll have that experience. One day
Yeah.
you'll be a grandfather.
Yeah.
You'll have that experience. So.
Yeah. Endless amount of memories, man.
Yeah. Well, let's segue that, man, into because we mentioned it earlier on the podcast today that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month,
Right.
and something that within my profession that I've noticed is that there's a lot of men out there, man, who are struggling,
Yeah.
on a daily basis, but they don't have anyone to talk to.
Yep.
A lot of the times they suppress it.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society that tells men you have to be strong, you have to be
Right.
tough, you have to carry the weight of the world from time to time.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be equipped to do so, or that we shouldn't
Right.
have the capacity to do so.
Right.
But I do believe that we as men have to learn healthy ways of coping with stress,
Yep.
anxiety, and finding a healthy outlet
Yeah.
to deal with those things.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's a big deal. I mean, mental health in itself is just a big deal overall.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's more, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's just more, was it prevalent? Prevalent? Is that
prevalent.
the word?
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah, it's more prevalent now
Mm-hmm.
than ever than I can remember.
Well, yeah, there's yeah.
You know that
Yeah.
from growing up, I feel like now
Yeah.
it's just like more at the forefront.
Because I think there's more of an awareness of it. Right?
Yeah.
Like we have these terms and we have
Right.
these definitions for things.
Right.
You know, because there's so many different forms of mental health.
Right.
Right. You have your far, your severe. You know,
Yeah.
your schizophrenia. Your
Yeah.
you know that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then you have you're just having a bad day.
Yeah.
You know, and depending on where you're at, man, you can float between those lines. But now we have terms where, and especially for myself, man, in the Black and Latino community, what mental health?
Right.
Like and I love my dad.
Yeah.
I love my dad. My dad was an amazing father.
Right.
But the concept of depression
Right.
didn't really exist.
No.
Anxiety didn't really exist.
Yep.
It's just like suck it up, man
Yeah.
up, plow through it.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, you may feel this way or feel that way,
Mhm.
but you still got to get it done.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
still got to get it done, man. Yeah, I think just mental health. I think it's just the overall challenges like we covered, earlier in the episode. Those are tough, man. Bills, household, raising kids.
Are there ever
Relationship?
times where, as a father, you feel the weight?
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll feel it, because it's just like we talk about. You going through peaks and valleys, right? And sometimes when you're in those valleys, man, you got more than just what's going on with you going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mhm.
you got other people to worry about.
Yeah. Yep.
So and it does get tough. It can get tough.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, like you just gotta have an outlet. Like for me, it's either I gotta read something, get in the gym,
Yep.
or like it's always been since I was a kid. I'll just go shoot some hoops,
Yep.
or run fives or something.
Yep.
I feel like if you got something like that going on for you, you'll be able to get through a lot of those things a lot easier. I mean, for me, being on the court or lifting really helps me gather my thoughts and figure out a solution.
I agree.
Whereas if I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just letting it eat at me,
Yeah, you stay there.
you just stay
Stay
there.
in that funk.
Right. Yep. So, definitely got to have some outlets, man. Because it can get tough for sure. Even with people with no kids. I mean, think about people with no kids. Imagine
Yeah.
even. I mean, I'm sure
Well,
that's stressful
I
too.
was gonna say, man, there's times where I think about it. So, I'm like, man,
Imagine if you had a kid right now.
exactly. No, seriously, man. There
Yeah.
are days where I think that, man. I'm like, man, what I'm dealing with right now is nothing compared
Right.
to the responsibility of being a father. Being the head of your household. And,
Right.
Really, really trying to be that foundation for your family. Now, have you had any close friends of yours maybe that had like a breaking point, or have you seen men where they get to that breaking point and it's like, man, this guy he couldn't take it anymore?
I haven't had any of my friends.
Mhm.
There's only one. I mean, really, shit. When I think about it, I only have one. Like one of my friends have kids. Like one that I actually hang out
Really-
with and
yeah.
talk to. Yeah, really
Yep.
talk to.
Mhm.
But we've always talked through a lot of our stuff, together. So it hasn't been, too bad. And he has his pops too, so he could talk to his pops too. So
Gotcha.
I mean, we've been fortunate in that aspect. But no, not I haven't. I mean, I've obviously seen it,
Mhm.
but I've never personally known them. But yeah, I've seen men just break down just because they don't know what to do,
Yep.
nowhere to go.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And they feel like they whatever solution they have to the problem, another one just pops up.
Right. Which
You
is
just
usually
feel
how it
like-
goes.
It is how it goes, right? And you just feel like you're drowning in it.
Yep.
Like you can never get to the top.
Right.
In my field of work, being a barber, I've seen men
Yeah.
hit rock bottom,
Yeah.
and I can tell right when they come in if they're in that space or not. It's
Yeah.
eerie sometimes.
Yeah.
I can pick it up.
You already know.
And I'll ask them without trying to get into their personal business or pride. Usually, if
Right.
it's a customer that I've been knowing for a while, I'll ask them how they're doing, and I can, like I said, I can see it, you know, body
Yeah.
language, all that.
Yeah.
And I just ask, man, what do you got going on?
Yeah.
You know, or you're in a slump, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's the same. And honestly, it's not even anything like super drastic that I notice. It's stuff that I noticed that may even happen within me,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, you start gaining a little weight,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You're drinking more,
Yeah.
you know, not getting good sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those 3 things right there, man.
Those are telltale
You
signs.
telltale signs. You know, I
Yeah.
had a customer of mine, good buddy of mine, man. He's a really good friend. He's been a great customer for over the years, and we had this conversation recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I said, "Do you think it's depression?" You know,
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't know, man, but I think so."
Yeah.
And I think so.
think so.
And I'm like, the thing about depression is there's these misconceptions about it. Like, people think that you just sit in the corner and rock yourself back and forth for the
Right.
entire day with a cover over you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how
No.
depression is, you
Yeah.
know, especially in today's society. There's more functional depressed people than you would think.
Oh yeah.
You know, people go to
Yeah,
work.
definitely.
I mean, comedians, right? People that commit suicide,
Right.
they're functioning as they're depressed.
Yep.
But yeah, so I try to have those tough conversations with my customers, and if I notice that they're in a funk, as fathers or just men in general, I just tell them, hey man, talk to me, get some of it out here. You
Yeah.
know, whatever you say in the chair stays here, and if you need to, man, go see a therapist.
Yeah.
You know, and then I always advocate, whether it's and once again, I don't bring race into it, because race isn't. I'm not saying race is everything,
Right.
but even for myself, if I go see a therapist, it does help if I go see a black male therapist,
Right.
because it's someone that can relate to the culture
Yeah.
and can have a better understanding of if I'm gonna spill my entire guts to this person and tell them,
Right.
you know,
Everything.
start talking about from my childhood until now.
Yeah.
Well, having someone that looks like you, that understands where you're coming from, helps.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
I've had therapists that don't look like me, and I went and talked to them, and I'm just like, I just wasted my money.
Yeah.
I could have just sat in the parking lot and talked to the
Right.
mirror
Yep.
for that. But
oh man.
yeah, I would advocate for men to, you know, especially, you know, if you're a dad and you just feel like the weight of the world, man, is coming down on you, either find a close buddy that,
Yep.
you know, has kids as well, or doesn't have kids, doesn't matter. Just a good listener
Yep.
that, you know, that, man, if you start shedding some tears, he's not going to be like, oh man, you're acting like a little, you know,
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
No, he's
Yeah.
going to be like, damn, bro, man, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Is there anything
Right.
that I can do to help you?
Right.
You know, or just let it out.
Yep.
Just let it out. So,
Yeah. No, I agree with that, man. And what about? So, how do you think that affects stepfathers?
That's a whole nother.
It's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah, because so and I asked this question: should the word step be there if he's truly being a father?
Right.
You know, because
Yeah.
like I said to you, like, I mean, I think we're technically second cousins, but like I don't
Yeah.
call you my second cousin.
Right.
You're my cousin.
You're my cousin.
Your family.
Right.
You know, like I have other cousins on my dad's side. Same
Right.
thing. I don't call them my step cousin.
Right.
They're just my
Yeah.
cousin, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's a notion that is a stepfather or a
Mhm.
stepmother, but specifically stepfather for, you know, for this episode. It's like,
Right.
I don't know, man. If a man is stepping up, and
Yeah.
he's being there and he's being the father to those children, he's being the father for his household.
Yeah.
He's a father.
Yeah. He's
You
a
know?
dad.
He's
Yeah.
a dad. But I do think that there are possible I don't want to say complications, but just hurdles, I guess, that, you know, you'll have to deal with if you decide to become a, you know, just use
Right.
the term a stepdad.
Right.
Because something that I thought about when I was single
Right.
was, if I get into a relationship with a woman that already has children,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how old those children are,
Yep.
I can't influence those kids in a way that I would like to, because
Yeah.
maybe they're too old to
Right.
be influenced, right?
Right.
Let's say they're in their early teenage years, right? Or 13, 14, you know, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
They've already developed their own way of thinking, their
Yeah.
own way of being.
Right.
So me coming into the picture and trying to tell them, hey, this is how I think you guys should do things, they're
Right.
not going to want to hear that.
No, yeah.
You know, they're not
yeah.
going to want to hear that.
Yeah.
And depending on the relationship that the mother has with the father of those children can also either make things really good or make things more hectic.
Yep.
And that's something that, you know, if you're a guy out there that is dating a stepmom or not a stepmom, but dating a single mom,
Yeah.
that's something to think about, you
Yep.
know, because I would even think about if I get into a serious relationship, do I have the right to discipline this child?
Right.
That's a tough conversation to have,
Yeah.
you know, and the way I kind of always looked at it was like, if I'm gonna do that, if I'm gonna be involved in this child's life,
Yeah.
right, and if I'm gonna love for it and care for it like it was my own child,
Right.
then I believe that I should have the okay
Right.
from the father to discipline the kid
Right.
if they're doing something that's wrong and that's not in their
Right.
best interest,
Right.
you know, because I think that we as men sometimes, regardless of the situation, you got to put your ego to the side, man, and do what's best for the child,
Yep.
you know.
No, I agree with that, man. Yeah. Stepfathers, man, sometimes they're more than the real fathers.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
You know, sometimes they turn into the real fathers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Shout out to those guys.
Shout
I mean,
out to those.
because it's not easy. Well, number one, it's not easy raising your own kids.
Right.
Right. So to take on the responsibility of raising someone else's kids.
Yep.
You know, my grandfather did it.
Yep.
You know, and he never, still to this day, he's never said, "Oh, those are my stepkids."
Right. Right. Yeah, well, it's like me. I mean, my dad is technically my stepdad.
Yeah, but
But-
you don't call him that.
Nah, I mean
Nah,
that dude's
boy,
that
that's
dude's my
pops.
dad's pops, man.
Yeah.
I think I've taken on more traits and more of his personality than anything. Like if he was,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's a funny joke I used to hear that my dad
Yeah.
used to say, and I don't know if it's just in the black community, but it used to say, like, jokingly, right, mama's baby, daddy's maybe, right?
right.
And then that turned into, my dad would say, like, well, you know, whether a kid looks like you or not, or he would say it, if you feed a kid long enough,
Yeah.
he'll start to look like you. You know?
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
that way, like, the
Yeah.
more time you spend with whoever,
Yeah. Whoever
you're gonna adapt their tendencies,
Yeah. They're
their language, the way
Yup,
that they
the way they
speak, the
talk.
way they act,
Yup.
all of that,
Yup.
without you even wanting to. You
Yup.
know, you're a product of the environment.
right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, man. So shout out to all of them. Shout
Yeah.
out to the single fathers.
Yeah.
But with that, wrapping it up, we hope you guys have a happy Father's Day to the fathers
Yes.
that are listening.
Yes.
We wanted to do this episode for you guys. We owe the moms though.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
Because we didn't get-
I know.
We didn't
I
get a
know.
chance to do it,
I
but
know.
it's all right. We got you guys.
We got you guys. Trust me. We're all about it. It didn't slip our mind. We
It
thought
didn't.
about it. We just didn't have the dates and everything. Just
the
didn't
dates
work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So
I want to give a shout out to not only my friends, but some of my customers that I know for a fact are amazing fathers, and that I've sat back and watched you guys grow and mature over the years. And honestly, man, from the bottom of my heart, you guys inspire me. You guys, I'm going to be calling all of you when I have kids,
yeah,
because, it's just watching how you guys have matured, man, is truly, truly an honor and a blessing to not only call yourselves my friends, but my customers. So Don Quo Davis, want to give a shout out to you. Jonathan Nunley, want to give a shout out to you. Kentro Billups, want to give a shout out to you. Scott Moore, want to give a shout out to you. Shout out to you, my
Appreciate
co-host,
it, man.
obviously.
Appreciate it.
And man, I feel like there's a lot that I'm forgetting right now that aren't coming to the top of my head. But those first three guys I mentioned, I've grown up with all of them, and I'm the only one out of our little friend group that doesn't have kids.
Shit, you late,
You know?
man.
So I know, man. I know. I'm a late starter.
Yeah, hurry
you know?
up.
I'm a late starter, man. But
Get that going.
I know, man. I know. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. I try to give them their flowers as much as I can, and not because I don't think that anybody else is doing it. But I think we as men, we need to do that for each other more, man.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, man, I see what you're doing, man, and I think you're doing great work,
Yeah, we definitely need to do that more.
Yeah.
It goes a long way too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely goes a long way.
Mhm.
Yeah, shout out to all the fathers I know. I won't name anybody, but my boys that have kids, my dad, my grandparents. Shout out to all you guys, and then again, shout out to all the dads listening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And if my dad does see this, we're gonna have to bring you on the podcast.
oh man,
That'd be hilarious.
that's gonna be hilarious.
Both our dads.
Yeah, we would have to go at the different studio though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Dad's he's big. That's a
I know
big
my
dude.
dad will walk in here and crack his head on the
Yeah,
ceiling.
he'd crack his head on the ceiling.
But all right, with that being said, we want to thank you guys again for tuning in to this episode of the Electives Podcast. This was our Father's Day episode, and we just wanted to show some love to all the fathers out there. We thank you for watching and listening, and as always, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.